What's going on, Facebook and YouTube? Welcome to Big Daddy Hacks Live. Welcome back. If you follow, if you've watched before, if you haven't, where have you been? Where have you been? Well, we were gone for a little bit too. Speaking of we, it's just I tonight since Mr. Whaley couldn't make it. He, unfortunately, he's got some important adulting to do. We all have jobs that we got to work to pay the bills, and he's got to work late, and he won't be able to make it tonight, unfortunately. But we will have the man of the hour, Mr. Andy Purcell. Right, man, I've been waiting to do this interview for so long, trying to schedule it, trying to get things lined up with his schedule, with our schedule, my schedule, just with everything. So it's awesome that we were able to finally get this scheduled. If you guys don't know, then I don't know how you're in softball. There's a lot of players out there that you might know of, or might have heard of, or have a recollection of, or a hinkling of, but this is the guy that you most definitely should know of. One of the greatest to ever play the game. Going down history is probably one of the best, if not the best pitcher ever in the game. And as a pitcher that's come up in the game and watched him for so many years, and I've grown from getting into tournament ball, all the way to playing conference ball. He's been one of the guys I've admired for so long, and learning more and more about him every time I do, it just like wows me, the kind of player he is. And you hear anybody else talk about him, it's almost like mythical. Like they're talking about somebody that doesn't really exist. It's just a story they heard. And that's a hell of a career to have. And I'm really looking forward to this. I think now more than ever, with him now being retired from the game and what he's doing for the game off the field. So we have a lot to talk about tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. I know he's in the waiting room. This has been a little different because he doesn't have social media. So it's been a learning process too for both of us. Try to get him on here, but he's in the waiting room now. So I told him I'd get him here in about 2 minutes. What we'll do is, like I said, I've had to share directly to Facebook. So what I'll do now is I'll get this going and share it to Big Daddy Hacks Live. That's where it should be. Got to figure that out. Why I can't just go straight to my group, man. I don't want all these different things. Got to be so weird, and I just don't get it. But it's just the way it is, I guess. Everybody's got their own thing, and it's just the way it is. What do you do? So, got that shared. Please share it yourself. Like I said, this is one that you most definitely want to, because we want to give the most love possible. Also, click on here so I can see your guys' comments as you're coming in. Make sure you guys are asking good questions tonight, because I will do a giveaway for the best question. Unfortunately, Andy won't be able to look at the questions as well. I'm going to see if I can actually access that right now. Let me see. There we go. Trying to figure this out so I can see them as they come in here, but I don't think it'll happen. I think only the ones that'll come are the ones off of YouTube. Let me see. Okay, so I don't think that's going to work for right now. But thanks for bearing with me on that. I guess it's still a learning process of doing this, going over to a new format, different streaming service and whatnot. But we're at the time. Let's see if we can get Andy in here and get this going. There he is. A little bit. What's going on, brother? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. You got me?
Yeah, perfect. Awesome.
Sorry for the Band-Aid thing. I got a little skin cancer thing going on, so.
Oh, man. That was a war wound. Thought we were getting back at it.
No.
How you been?
Good, man. Good. Just catch up on some sleep.
Yeah,
on the weekend,
busy,
yeah.
Huh?
Busy traveling all the time. So, but I enjoy it.
How's the Smoky?
It was great, man. It was great. Had the home run contest Thursday night. Ended up throwing to every batter except for one, so I threw a bunch of pitches I haven't thrown for a couple of years, but it was fun throwing some BP, and then tournament went great, man. It was hot.
Yeah, It seemed like I got, we watched some of the games on live and we're checking it out. I played locally this weekend, but I was trying to get as much as possible. And then my wife is also not only a ball player, but she's a huge fan. So I say, hey, do you mind if we go back and watch some of the games from the Smoky? She's already got it on the tablet, so without missing a beat. So we went back and watched, and this year seemed great with using that Pro-Am hardcore.
We used the hardcore last year. Was the first year we used it. Then we used it this year, and during the day, it was hot, but it didn't affect it too much. The scores were good. The scores got a little high at night, but really with any ball, the score gets high at night. It's just the nature of the beast. But you want to make sure you use a good ball because the fans go there to see home runs. They don't want to go there to see a 12-10 game.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. And like I said last year, I didn't realize it was used last year. I thought it was last year was still using the Pro-Am, but I thought the Pro-Am was pretty good last year compared to the previous years.
Yeah, well, we only had one bad thing with the Pro-Am. It was one bad batch. We got rid of that quickly. We used the hardcore last year on the two main diamonds at Sandy Springs Park, and then the Pro-Am at all the other off parks. And so we followed the same suit this year.
Yeah, I was really impressed. Like even like last year when we played Worlds, that they got that ball dialed in compared to like 2 years ago in this Bay Area. It seemed like we had a guy on our team that knew from the serial number whether we got the good batch or the bad batch.
Yeah,
we got a good ball this game.
There's not much we can do about the bad batches. No. We catch them when we can, and we try to get rid of them, and so we don't use them in play. But sometimes, just there's nothing we can do about it. But I think we're done with all the bad batch stuff now, and I think Dudley's got on point, and we'll be fine from now on.
Yeah, I've been the last events we've played. I thought Texas, and then and then in Kansas City, like I thought the balls were performing really well. Especially like that first game we had was pretty humid, pretty hot, and the ball came off great. And I said, this program reacts great. So then, like I said, Worlds was a great time to test it. To see how's this ball going to react, and it was coming off. I mean, awesome.
If it's good in the Florida heat, it's good anywhere.
You went from, God, I hope I get into one hit a home run to, man, I hope I hit HROs. I mean, that was kind of that was the feeling again. So it was awesome to getting that dialed back in. And from being a player, what you'd want to hit. So I think that helps a lot too. Like having yourself and others in the behind the scenes that had the experience that honestly go, hey, no, this isn't good.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's what I think I bring some when I'm doing the conferences. I've been there. I know I've been around everything there is to be around. So I try to, I got both sides. I got a player side and a director side. So I try to do the best I can to make everybody happy.
Before we get too crazy, because I got a lot of, I always have a list of questions that I ask whenever I have a first timer on. It's a first time interview. I like to go through a little bit of the history, and everybody knows who you are, but it also lets them get to know you a little bit better. Some of the history maybe they didn't know.
Yeah.
But I also put a list of questions down for each person that's a little bit more personal and references them and maybe something that I've had questions on as well.
Right.
But as a pitcher that's talking about the ball, what's it like is for you pitching different types of balls? Do you notice different movement or anything different? Like if you're throwing the stadium ball compared to throwing the classic M or coming up even you came up a lot of years with different types of balls, different types of covers, compression.
Yeah. By far the best ball to pitch for me with the knuckleball and all that is the composite covers. Now the synthetic covers get a little slick during different times. Your hands get sweaty and that makes it more slick, but it's just hard to get a grip with the synthetic balls. It doesn't have as much movement where the either back in the day it was leather or synthetic. So the leather was always better than synthetic. And then now the composite covers are by far the best. Now that hardcore's got a little soft cover to it. If you squeeze a hardcore, you can squeeze it. It's soft, but the ball flies. It's almost like it's close to a multi-layer ball, but that ball's fun to pitch too. But any ball with a composite cover is the best ball by far to grip for a pitcher.
I think kind of going off it as a hitter, I get people up here in Minnesota because we hit synthetics a lot. And it's always because of the humidity or the heat. And I'm like, listen, dude, I was in Florida for how many years? That's where I lived. I talk about my adult growing up time.
Right.
As a kid was here. Then I grew up as a man there and as a softball player there. And I think that's the one place that we've tested out, probably every ball ever made to see what's the best.
Right.
And like when the G.O.A.T Extreme first came out, that was like the ball to have. Like we hit that over 44 400s for a long time. And one of the biggest things I learned from testing out different balls is like that cover makes a big difference too as a hitter, where stadiums are fun to hit. Stadiums are always fun to hit, but it's such a hard ball with not a lot of forgiveness to the cover that if you miss a little bit, you're kind of straight up. You miss a little bit on top, you're straight down. You're better off to like 3/4 swing than to go after it. And when we play tournaments like the outlaw ones where you could hit a stadium, we'd more apt go for like a 44-5-25 or something like that because it had that little bit of give to the cover and would grip the bat a little bit better and a little more forgiving on the miss hits.
Yeah, it depends on the ball. Like synthetics, just in my opinion, just aren't great balls. So, it's just hard to pitch and hard to hit. The stadiums, obviously, they're great balls. The difference between like the hardcore and the stadium is the hardcore, if you hit it square in the face, you're going to get a lot more knuckleballs because the cover's given more. It's taking away spin if you hit it straight in the face. Just like any ball takes away spin when you hit in the face, but that one being softer creates a little more knuckleballs than a stadium would. So it's a little easier. Well, you'll get less knuckleballs with stadiums, but if you spin them both, they both fly a mile.
Oh, that pro and hardcore has been fun to hit. Like watching it the AA, and then being able to hit it like the first time that we actually really used in the game was Kansas City earlier this year, and it was like cool. It was like 50s, 60s. We're hitting a pro and hardcore. I was like, holy shit, this ball is ridiculous.
And the weather doesn't really affect the hardcore. Like back in the day, the Classic M, if it was hot, it turned into I'm showing my age, an SB12, which was a super old ball that just absolutely stunk. And then when it was cold, it turned into a Launch 650 with the Classic M. So that's why we went to the Pro M. We did a lot of hitting testing in Florida with the Pro M itself, and the weather didn't really affect it that much. Too cold, too hot, it didn't really make that big of a difference. And that's why we went to the ball, because we wanted some consistency there. And then obviously, like I said, at night, any ball is going to be a little bit better.
I'm reading some of the questions coming in too as you're going over, because I told the guys that I do a giveaway for one of the best questions that I have a bunch too, so I'm trying to make sure we don't miss. Usually, Whaley's on here and he helps me out with keeping track of them as well.
Right.
We had a good one come in, and I'm gonna save it just for a second. You talk about like kind of aging yourself with all the years. Let's talk about that a little bit, like what year you got started and what kind of got you into slow pitch.
Actually, I started playing slow pitch, like fun stuff, in between when I was playing junior college baseball. My buddy, his older brothers all played slow pitch, so I would play the city leagues here and there in between that. And then when I got back, I went away to play college baseball. And when I got back from that, I jumped right into slow pitch softball. I was like the coach, and I had to get everything going, collect money from everybody to pay and all this other stuff, which was a big hassle, obviously. But we started the D level, and I just fell in love with it. And 31 years later, I retired.
Did you ever think, like when you started at the D level, that you'd have the ride you had?
No, not at all. Actually, when I started at the D level, I didn't even know about upper softball, and played a year in there, played a couple years in C, and back then in C, I think it might have been 93, 94, something like that. We were playing the C state. I was originally from California. The C state in California, we had 110 teams just in the C state. And then played that, and then found out that there was an upper level ball where people actually made some money, this and that. So I'm like, that was my goal. And then I was fortunate to get on some good teams, get on some good sponsors, and just gradually work my way up from D up to major.
Yeah, it's awesome just thinking back. Like, just when I tell people about looking back and working, being in the military and sitting at a law enforcement desk and having, the dual screens going, and one screen's my work, it's my blotter, or it's the alarm side, and the other screen was Softball Kingdom or Softball 360 or whatever's going, and watching the games, and watching like yourself and some of your teammates coming up and just being that guy that was just really starting to play travel ball and be like, wow, there's this kind of level, and I'd love to get to that level one day. And then to get there and play the conference and be a part of some really good teams, it's crazy, that ride. And then thinking back, and then I always look back at that and go, well, that's my journey. And then guys like you that inspired me to think about your journey. That's kind of what started this, because when I wanted to do this for a long time, doing Big Daddy Hacks Live, but I didn't know what to call it or where I wanted to go with it. But I wanted to get you guys on here, because just pulling you off to the side of the ballpark, you've met me, I'm quick to I'm not shy to say hey, right, or ask you a question. But there's a lot of guys that see you that are. They have the questions and they'll love the answers, but it's just like they're nervous about coming up and talking to you.
Yeah, I'm like on the field, I'm a different person. I'm a little crazy. I'm stupid sometimes, and I get angry and this and that, and that's just me wanting to win. But this is kind of me out the field. I talk to anybody. I don't throw myself out there. You know what I mean? I'm kind of to myself, but I answer every question ever asked of me, and people like sometimes are intimidated to come ask me a question because I think they take my persona on the field and think I might get mad or be an asshole or something. But I'm just not. This is me out the field. When I'm playing, I want to win. I really don't care what anybody thinks, to be honest with you. My goal is to win, whether I was getting paid, not getting paid. I've been the same my whole life. I want to win. I don't care what I'm doing. Ping pong, checkers, basketball, it don't matter. And then I grew, obviously, playing softball. I fell in love with it. And that was on the weekends. That's all I'm there for. I'm not there to do anything except win a freaking softball game that people expect me to do. And I honestly, back to my journey, I don't think I would have even made it that far if I didn't actually become a pitcher. I became a pitcher by accident. I mean, I was a shortstop, third baseman, and
that was one of my next questions.
Yeah, I was a shortstop, third baseman. I was on first base. Guy hit a line drive. I dove back to first, trying to stop the double play, and I tore my rotator, and I couldn't throw overhand. So I said, I'm just going to pitch. I could still swing. It didn't hurt to swing. I said, just let me pitch. I'll pitch until I heal up. I started throwing knuckleballs. I was really throwing knuckleballs. I threw a knuckleball, and by the luck of everything, it just moved like crazy. And I never even practiced it one time in my life. I just started throwing it, and it worked. And then I gradually perfected it. But I had so much success, the rest is history. I never went back to infield because I wasn't that great of a hitter either when I first started playing softball. I never took BP, and as I moved up, I became a better hitter. But I started, I was a 3-hitter on my AA team, and when I went to major, I was the last hitter. But I didn't care because I was having so much fun. We were winning, and then I worked my way up all the way to the 2 spot, you know what I mean, in major. So it's all about hard work, but luck of the draw too. I became a pitcher, and that got me where I went.
The biggest thing is hitting, and I tell people all the time, you can have a good weekend. And there's guys, I see a lot of young guys that will, even in the wintertime, we do hit tracks. They're like, well, I beat you in velo, or I beat you in this. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. What was your average? What was your average velo? What was your average this? Because really, it doesn't matter if you hit 118 if you do it one time out of 40. It's about what you do consistently. Now is the biggest thing. Learn to make it to the next level is you got to be consistent.
Yeah, it's not so much how hard you hit the ball; it's where you hit the ball, not how far you hit it, when you hit them. When you have limits and you just go up there and free swing, when you don't play the game the right way, the good upper teams aren't gonna. They don't care how far you hit it. If you don't play the game the right way, these guys aren't going to pick you up. It's just that simple. You have to play the game the way it's supposed to be played. Less than 2 outs, second and third, you hit a base hit. There are good outs in softball. Nobody wants to make them, but they're good outs in softball. You never hit bad home runs on purpose. Everybody's going to hit them on accident. But if you try to play the game the right way, people will want you to play for them.
No, and people know too if you're padding your average. Like if you're going up there and you're more worried about yourself, it's tough to hide it. Like it stands out. Yeah. It stands out every level. So
yeah, if you're hitting 750 on the weekend and you're, 85% of our hits are home runs with minimal RBIs, it means nothing.
Yeah.
In the big scheme of things, it's kind of the same thing. But in the big scheme of things about getting picked up and people wanting you to play with them, it means nothing because there's a lot of people that free swing could really hit good.
Well, the same thing too is I think as being the DHH, everybody thinks with the DHH you have to hit a ton of home runs. Like you should be hitting one every time. It's like, well, I hate to break it, but if we were playing you now, I'm the DHH. I'm probably not getting the same pitches you're giving to the other guys that have a home run limit.
No, exactly. If you face a good pitcher, who is pitching to the batters and not just pitching to pitch strikes, then you're not going to see the same pitches other people are. It's just that simple.
No, I usually look at it as coaching wise. If it was me, it was me. If it was my brother, if it was somebody else, especially like coming up before we played a lot together like that, a lot of good buddies and stuff. I looked at whoever was hot, like the guy that was he was making sure the bases were cleared, and he also had that kind of power that if he got on a hot streak and he starts hitting them, probably want the band on him,
right?
Because he's going to keep sending them consistently, and now he's not burning them up for the limited home runs that we get,
right?
And a lot of people don't see it that way. They say, "Well, I'm hitting a bunch right now. I should have it." And you're like, "Well, they're also throwing you four-seam tumbler, and they're throwing him.
Yeah, if you're not the DHH and you get limited home runs, depending on if there's nobody on, obviously they're going to give you a good pitch to hit it out. If there's three people on, you might not get that same pitch. So unless the pitcher's just there to throw strikes. So some pitchers, depending on what level you are, they just want to throw strikes, which is fine because they're just not at that level yet. But it all depends on who you're playing.
It kind of talked about that from the pitching mindset too, and how approaching it, like you're pitching the other batters if they don't have the band, and defensively kind of like how you set the players up. How important is it for you with the guys behind you for setting up how you want to pitch?
Oh, it's everything because I'm the only one who knows where I want to pitch the ball. So I have to make that clear to my players. So if you watched when I played, I would always move my outfielders where I want them per batter. The infielders know what I'm going to do. I'll turn around. I might turn around and tell the shortstop, hey, first pitch, run that way, something like that, just to throw a ball and make them see something. And then I'll say, hey, stay straight this way, and try not to make it obvious and just mess with the batter because I'm not afraid to walk them. I never had many walks, but I'm going to pitch the batter to where I want them to hit it, not to where they want to hit it. I can see where they're standing, what they want to do, or if I've played against them, I know what they want to do, right? So my job is to make them do something they don't want to do, which isn't always going to happen because the hitters, as you get higher, are very good. But if you have some sort of plan for every batter and the defense knows every batter, my defense knows every batter what I'm trying to do. I let them know. However my signals might be, whatever I may do, they know what I want to do with every batter. Or they may know somebody and know something and say, hey, he likes to do this. I say, okay, let's try it. But I'm never pitching to a batter that the defense doesn't know what I'm doing, especially my shortstop, middle, second baseman, center fielder. They always know.
Do you shift your defense in and out too, from like fading back further in the grass or bringing them up more into the dirt? Or
depending on who's up, depending on what the situation is, what they're comfortable with, what I mean. So, but I'll always I'll have them, whatever I say. And we had success. And then, listen, I'm going to take the blame and I'm going to get the credit, right? So they're going to do what I say. We have an understanding. If I want you to move 5 feet right, then move 5 feet right. They beat us. It's my fault. Did we get them out? Great, we did it. You know what I mean? I'll take the blame if I move you in the wrong spot. But I'm going to move you where I think is going to help the team, not where I think I want you to be just because I want to tell you what to do. I'm going to move you because this is where I think this guy's going to hit it, where I pitch it. If I hit the spot that I'm trying to hit, there's a good chance this is where he's going to hit it. He beats us. He doesn't, we win that at bat.
One of the biggest things from we just watched it, going back watching the Smokey and watching the defensive shift. And I told my wife, pause that, go back. I said, see how they shifted on him? Or like when Yates came up and they all shifted over and pretty much the third baseman was playing shortstop, and the shifts that you'll pull and you'll make. And I said, that is playing smart ball. And then you have to do that at that next level. I'm talking about it because one of my Jeremy Wiley, one of my teammates, he's a young pitcher that's come up in the game. He's on here and he's watching this. I knew he would, because he's wanting to learn as much as possible and pick. And I said, one of the biggest things you got to do pitching wise is also adjust your defense, especially when you're on 300-foot field, smaller. If you got limited home runs, they're out of home runs. Your guys playing way back in the grass. You're making your holes really big.
Yeah,
bring them up. Let them try to burn those guys.
Your best fielders are your middle and your shortstop, middle guy and shortstop. So if we have a guy that's just a straight pull guy, a lefty, let's say, just a straight pull guy, we know no matter what I do, he's pulling everything I throw, right? Then I'm going to put my first baseman over at shortstop, put my second baseman in the middle, and put my middle and my shortstop at first and second base. Just because that we know what they're going to do. And we want our best fielders. Nobody should take offense to that. If you're there to win, right? Your first baseman should never take offense to us moving him to a different position where they're not going to hit it, because the goal is to get the guy out, right? So why not have our best players where we think are 99% sure he's going to hit it? So we move guys there. Now, you don't do that every time. You may do it, wait for, on a limited home run situation, the Smokey, they're always going to yank it. So I would do it every time for that guy. But you wait until you think that's definitely what they're going to do. A home run situation, move them over, take the first baseman out of there, and get your best two fielders at first and second. And you can play deep. The first baseman plays a little bit behind the bag. Second baseman is way in the grass. Because if he rolls it over, it's going to be hard. Or if it's a line drive that normally would go over the dirt, if you're 15, 20 feet back in the grass, you're catching that. So you got to be smart. There's more to softball than just trying to score more runs and catching the ball when it's hit, and there's more to pitching than just throwing strikes. But you have to invest yourself into the psychological part of the game too.
Yeah, it's. I think with especially with now with everybody streaming, everybody streams their games, everybody streams, and then I think with UTSA has done a great job, especially with J-Roll, man. Like adding the production. There's a whole other thing we could talk about, and I've talked about the game like with slow pitch could grow so big if it's got to be promoted correctly and brought to you to where it's interesting and you could get the eyes on. So you're getting the people that are not even the players. The people are just like, oh, I used to play or had so and so, and I want to watch this. This is interesting. And you see all the videos that pop in and out now, and there's even more. Like I get on the rant about how I think YouTube Plus has done a great job now too about putting the highlights out there to draw attention. And but I love when you get the guy that came out of baseball or still plays baseball that goes on there just to shit on the video of Cannell hitting one or Phil not hitting one. Or
it's just guys that either don't know what really. I mean, granted, all baseball players will do good, but it's going to take time for adjustment, and it's not as easy as people think. Like I said, it's just anybody can say it's underhand softball, it's throwing 12 miles an hour, blah blah blah. Granted, that's true, but it's a lot harder than people think. It's not a beer league where people may not have the skill level that a lot of these players have. So it's just funny to hear that sometimes.
It's just different levels, and I kind of laugh. I finally tripped in the other day, and this is something about wood bats. And I said, a lot of us still play wood bat tournaments, and I was like, but he is hitting that on a baseball field that's like the same dimensions. I think is close to like the Indians.
Yeah. And softball players got to create all the power of the ball. It's not it's harder to hit a baseball. Obviously, not many people can hit a 95-mile-an-hour fastball or an 85-mile-an-hour slider, or 90-mile slider, but when you do make contact, that speed coming in is helping the ball go out. Softball, you as a hitter is creating every bit of that power. So there's some skill and some strength to it.
Oh yeah, and my biggest one is they're taking a video of a clip of he hit a home run, but I think it's just unlimited everywhere, and they're on 300-foot fields. Right. Now, and I love that. Well, if they're a real athlete, they play hardball, and I'm like, well, a lot of these guys did play baseball at the highest level. And to be honest, we had a guy that came from the Kansas City Royals that played with us, and he put us in a tournament, and he got so sick afterwards and cramped up so bad because when he played outfield in MLB, he only had a ball hit to him. How many batters? In softball, he was covering like almost every other hit, running stuff down.
And listen, if he played MLB, he's another level. Anybody who can play MLB or professional, any professional sport, they're another level than all of us, right? Yeah. They are. But for us, for our general sport, it's not as easy as people think.
No.
But we ain't the caliber of no professional athlete by any means. Those guys are just freaks of nature.
It was funny though on the way back because we were playing in Alabama on the way back to Florida. He had me pull over because he was cramping up so bad and everything. I said, I told you have to take plays off. I said, it's go nonstop. Exactly. You don't get the break.
No,
but no, it's just to see. But I think one of the biggest things kind of get back is you post these videos and people will pick out the one play they made or the highlight reel they made, but they won't pay attention to the 5 times they were out of position, or if they would have shifted, or if they would have played this a little differently, they would have made the play. And I was actually talking about the other day. So I almost want to live a game or record a game and then cut all our at-bats out of it. And this is for the team I'm playing with this year, just to kind of like show them and only play the defense and zoom in so they can see like the shifts I'm talking about and the way we could do things better, because it does play a key part in it. And all those slow pitches, very much offensive game. As you move up in levels, as you're growing, you got to have the defense. You got to make the outs when they're there, and you got to play smart because, most of the guys can hit. And you don't want to give more opportunities to get hot than need be. Like when they give you an out, you got to make it.
Yeah, at the upper level, for sure. If you don't make the plays, you're giving up extra runs that you may not afford because the people are so good. So you better – the defense is huge. Defense is huge at our level, at that upper level. Defense is almost as important as offense, because if you can't stop them, if you can't make plays, you can't win. I don't care how good offense you have.
What's your opinion on this too? Because one of the things I've been kind of preaching and talking about too is that as a pitcher, I couldn't tell you how many balls have been hit through on me on the 5-6 hole, 3-4 hole, the holes. I, I, I couldn't even take an educated guess and be. I mean, it's so many, over the years, of playing for how many years now. But I could probably give you a pretty fair guess on how many balls have been hit down the line on me. Grounders down third baseline, grounders down first baseline. And I was trying to tell the guys last weekend is you got to play smart, especially even on 300-foot field, whatever field. But come off those lines. If you got maybe 3 guys lined up that can paint the line at will, phenomenal. What's the other 7 guys going to do? I'm pitching a certain way, and if they want to try to pull that ball down the line or push it down the line, great. If they get a hit, but the line's only this big of a gap, and the holes are this big. If you keep leaving them, if you're playing so close, you're leaving a guy out that's got to cover a lot of ground.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to give up too much of the line, but you can give up some of the line, and then late in the game, when you don't want no doubles, then you take that line away because it's late in the game. It's a close game. You want no doubles, so take the lines away a little bit. But yeah, both lines are harder to hit than obviously any other hole or the gaps. But some people are very good at it, but most people, it's a little tough, and they try to hit it too close to the line. They hit off foul balls. So, but if you give them too big of a line, then they don't have to be as precise. So it's a little easier.
It depends on what you said too. Pitching to your defense, it's also then pitching. Like if you're fading them off that, you're pulling your third baseman off that line.
Yeah, don't throw it in.
Yeah. Right. So, man, just the advice you've given so far has been awesome. I got a lot of people commenting on it. You got Corny's on here. It's called Pitching to Your Defense. Andy Purcell.
Corny's the main man. I love me some Corny.
Dude, he is everywhere all the time.
He's unbelievable. I've had Corny as my rep when I was Mizuno. I've had him with Louisville Slugger. I've had him with Worth. The guy is a machine.
That's the question I was going to ask you because I know coming up through the years, what's it been like with, you've had a ton of signature bats too, but what's it been like with the different manufacturers and in that process of changing throughout the years?
It's great. I mean, all the guys are good. All the manufacturers are good. You know what I mean? Every bat is good this year. I'm Louisville Slugger, but listen, I'm just an honest guy. Every bat is good. So it all depends on, some people are loyal to certain brands. Some people are loyal to certain bats, 1-piece, 2-piece, whatever. But all these guys that I've worked with from, like I said, Mizuno, I've been with Mizuno, Easton, Worth, Louisville Slugger, almost all of them. And they've all obviously treated me great. And it's a cool thing. When I first started doing it, I'm like, man, this is awesome. And then even till the end of my career, I'm like, I don't take it for granted. I mean, it's not many people can have their name on a bat and this and that and be taken care of like I've been taken care of. So, I thank those guys all the time. And every time I see them, I thank them because without them, I'm what am I doing?
I look back just kind of think about when I first really started playing tournament ball and they had the Worth Titan Resmondo that had everybody's name on it, which was so cool to me that they had all the players' names on it.
Yeah.
And then they had the blacked out Titan, and then they had the Jeff Hall. And I remember that the black one was such a pain in the ass to break in, but once you did, that thing was stupid. But the Resmondo was kind of hot right out of the way, and then it got really, really hot. You more had to worry about it lasting you
right,
because it got so good. But it's kind of thinking talking about different manufacturers and stuff too. Each one's kind of had its time during certain time frames where it's been the bat. Like if you're not sponsored or signed as somebody,
no doubt,
you're trading whatever you got to get that bat because that's the one you want right now.
Right.
And they seem kind of fluctuate and go up and then down and go up and then go down. And then sometimes I used to go it's probably right before I moved back to Minnesota, a few years before that, when they had the Louisville had the Z1000, then they had the 2000. The 2000 was just a game changer. Like it was just so good and it was so awesome. And then Louisville kind of just for a while fell off. And it's like, why did they change from the 2000? That thing was the bat everybody had to have. Like you had to have one. I had the 2000 plus that came from, I think it was S2N at the time or whatever, or not S2N, but Just Bats or one of those. And that thing was just stupid. Like it was unreal.
Yeah, they were. I was with Worth at that time, and then my Worth contract was up. Some things went on in the behind the scenes, and Louisville came to me, but I wanted to make sure I had a good bat. And they said, "Look, we want to bring back the Genesis." And, so I tested all the bats. It was a great bat. And then it just kept getting better. And now I think Louisville's right there. I mean, they're the difference I've noticing with the Louisville bats, and like I said, I'm an honest person. I'm not going to say it because my name's on a bat or I'm a Louisville Slugger guy. I'm just telling the truth, and the truth is those bats, they may not have the crack sound that maybe other bats have, but the balls are going just as far and they're lasting. And when they get down to that number, when they get down to 250, they stay, man. They just stay. They've done a great job of making the bats last, and the performance is great. And I can't be happier right now.
I tell people that they come because they knew I was swinging Louisville, and that was the route I was going to go before going with Anarchy. And I have my reason. Like I love our bats, and to me, I was just got off the phone with another guy that before this conversation. I said I wouldn't change unless Anarchy really did me dirty, like really badly did me dirty, or they just quit making them because of how much I love them. But I'll never ever say anything bad about Louisville because I was really impressed with them.
Right.
It might look like it's going to fail. Paint coming off, chips coming off fiber, but it still passed, 260, 270. Like,
well, and the performance was great. So
the only thing I had was I had dirties and I liked it a lot. It just felt light to me, and I liked yours because I had the end load.
Yeah,
and what the end load was, the way like just the snap in the end of it. If I had guys on, needed to hit a bomb, swing yours. If I needed to be more base hitting, I'd just swing dirties because I love the way both bats were different. But they were both really, really good. And then that you're Bay Area, a lot of my teammates swung Louisville, and they had a lot of success with it. Right. So I'll never say anything bad. It's kind of like I tell people is if you like Louisville and that's your jam and you like that swing, you're not going to be disappointed. You're going to love their product.
Oh, but yeah.
And it's one of the biggest things with doing Big Daddy Hacks Live. I'm honest to a fault. I'm not going to, just because I'm with Anarchy, crap on anybody else's bat either. Like if you got a good product, you got a good product. Now, there's a couple out there that I'm like, but for the most part, all of them are pretty good. I'm even happy because I was with Easton, for so many years under good old Bob Hortonbach, being under that umbrella. But before that, swinging them, to see them go from being like the hottest 220 bat to just kind of going down to now seeing them have their tantrum and come back and have a bat that's right there back in the fight is awesome too. Because I like seeing that. I think at the end of the day, I want all the bats to be pushing each other.
Yeah, for sure. It makes competition good. And no matter what you choose or you like, all the bats are going to be good. It's just a matter of what you want to do.
Listen, you've been around and you've played plenty of ASA as well with the Super and the Double A and the national side of things and stuff. I know it's more than you trip in conference, but you've played your fair share of ASA. And before like Anarchy and before Monster, I think they got kind of lazy. Most manufacturers they were just kind of just reprinting bats because they could.
Right.
And then lo and behold, a couple other bat companies come on that kind of push the envelope. So I think you need that.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Kind of speaking of that, that's talking about changes and everything else. What are some of the biggest changes you've seen over time in the game, like that? Because there's been a lot. There's been a lot. But for you, kind of coming up and seeing it, it's probably a tough question because there's so many. But what was one that's like really influential to the game being what it is now?
I think the home run rule. When I first started, we would go to these tournaments and playing the highest level. It was unlimited home runs on 300-foot parks. And once the home run rule started getting put in place, it changed the game because you couldn't just have the biggest team that hit the farthest balls. You had to have big guys and athletic guys, smaller athletic guys, because of the home run limits. And the home run limits also brought in strategy to the game. And that's a lot. Using your home runs correctly, getting the people on your team that would play the game the right way to use the home runs correctly. Because on a 300-foot park, most of the people are going to be able to hit home runs. So when they put that home run rule in, that I think changed the game to the better. It brought defense in. It brought more athletic guys in. And all around, everybody was athletic. Even the big guys back then were very athletic. But it's a little different with home run rules where you got to make every play, and people they're trying to hit it through you instead of over you.
Yeah, it sounds Big John makes plays that I'm like that.
Yeah, he's a massive dude that is one of the best fielders in the game, and he's a freak of nature. He can do anything with the bat, and if you hit it to him, you're out. Simple.
I always joke at Hit Tracks whenever we hit one of the shortstop makes a play. I'm like, Reggie, when the hell did Baker and Rena have a baby? Because that's what the shortstop's like. You hit one 110, hit one whatever. This guy's making plays, snapping you off. No matter where you hit one a little bit this way, he makes a play. So you hit it back a little bit this way, he makes a play. He's just unreal good. And I was like, this guy, I said Resmondo's missing out. They got a guy that's wearing a Walmart shirt on your screen here. They should be picking up. It's just unreal.
There's some freak athletes out there, man. That if people who like sports, who like baseball, want to come watch softball, there are some freak athletes out there that make plays that are just incredible. That they would be very surprised.
I got a question for you. Speaking of that, because I was just thinking about seeing it, like with freak athletes and stuff. I've had the chance of playing with some guys that were really, really damn good, especially in the field. Like could hit too, but like it with time probably would have been really nasty with the bat. But they were just like I played with a shortstop that was just ridiculously good, but he had other things he wanted to do in life. And is there anybody that you played with coming up in the game that if they would have had that same hunger or drive you had, or if they would have maybe not had necessarily life things come up that might have been also one of the big names in softball?
That's kind of hard. I think the one guy that stands out from a long time ago that just he's the perfect height, he's big, perfect body, just straight, just perfect everything. Lefty, can hit it as long as anybody hit it where he wants, but just was a carefree dude, and he wanted to win, but it was like everything was he just didn't really, nothing fazed him. A guy named Kenny Briggs, he just a good dude. Lefty, throws righty, bat lefty, can hit it 9 miles, and but he just didn't. He played upper level too, but he didn't.
Remember that name, Kenny Briggs?
Yeah, he didn't have the career that he could have had, I think, but he's a good dude, a good friend of mine. But he's just one of those carefree dudes. He just whatever it was. You know what I mean? So everybody's personality is different. There's some people that take it too hard, like myself, and some people that just do it to have fun, and which is great. Everybody's different, but that's probably my best answer.
So you have a really good question here from Daniel Holder. I want to get it out because I know Chinaman Daniel. We played together for a lot of years in Florida. Came up like guys have been very influential to my journey. He said, out of all the years, which player would you say is one player you didn't want to shoot the box on you? And he also said you're the GOAT.
I was stupid when I was young, so I really didn't care that much. But who it was, but back in the day when I pitched before I got on his team, when I pitched against him, Jeff Wallace, his nickname Zoomer, because he hit it as hard or harder than anybody ever. He's one of them. It's hard to think. One of the best hitters I faced, Scott Brown, Minnesota guy. He's one of the best hitters I've ever faced. Hitting the middle. Halsey hit the middle hard. Helmer hit the middle super hard. So those guys come to mind of guys that did I get mad if they did it? No. Did I want them to? Not really. But when I was younger, I really didn't care. You know what I mean? I had a lot of success early on. I caught a lot of balls. And so people started stopping hitting it at me. Plus I had guys behind me that when we came to bat, nobody wanted them to hit it at them, right? And they would protect me a lot. So, but I had so much success that it varied. But guys like Helmer, Wallace, these guys, you don't want those guys hitting it at you in the middle because the ball's coming at another speed.
I remember watching a lot of the events coming up, like kind of, let's say, growing up in the game, like watching you pitch and watching you play. It didn't seem like middle was hit a whole lot until you got to like that major championship time frame where it just had like you're looking to get that hit, and then obviously you might see it open up a little bit more. But both teams got guys that could really open it up if they needed to be like having.
And
you're not gonna play a normal team and have them hit you because they know you got a whole squad behind you that can
exactly. But also the other major teams had a squad behind them too. So there were times where we got in some wars, and it was just part of the game. You know what I mean? We didn't. It's just the way it was. Nobody really got mad at it, but as a pitcher, because you knew what you're going out, what you signed up for, but your players around you would get mad and do things about it. But I've been in plenty of middle wars at the upper level that were pretty good.
What was one of the? I would say because he had kind of tag teaming off of Chinaman's comment. What's one of the scariest times maybe pitching, like having one hit back at you or getting hit or?
I think one that made me think was probably one time in Euless. It was dark, and the lights weren't that good back in the day. and we were playing I think it was Laser Vision at that time, and Kendrick hit one back at me that I put my glove up. Sorry, I put my glove up right here to catch it, and this is pre-mask and all that. I put my glove up right here to miss it, and it kind of went right between my glove and my face, and it was going extremely fast because back then I caught everything, and it was going fast. That one made me think a little bit, like, what the hell's going on? That was dangerous. But other than that, back in the day, one time, probably one of the worst I got hit, where there's only one time ever that I thought I wasn't going to be able to play the next day, was at the Dudley. Back we used to use white balls, and I threw an inside pitch to J.D. Jenner, and I wasn't expecting the inside out, and it hit me square, straight on the kneecap, and finished the game, went to the hotel, was icing all night, and middle of the night, I thought there's no way I'm going to be able to walk tomorrow, but luckily my body, when I was younger, healed fairly quick, and I was good, but that one got me good, right on the kneecap, going hard.
Yeah, that's a bad spot.
Yeah.
I got hit
before. That's pre-gear, pre-knee brace, pre-knee pads, pre-mask, pre-everything, so it got me good.
I ended up getting surgery in this eye, and I got hit, and it was right when I met Hall, like right afterwards. So I got a good picture of me and him meeting for the first time. My face looks like I got my ass whooped.
Right.
But then I had to go and put plastic in and everything, so it crushed the eye socket and stuff. But I went blind in that eye for like 4 years. I was pitching to my brother, and he got me good. But I didn't really feel much, so I took a couple swings, and then I said, "All right, dude, I'm done. I gotta go to the house." I went to the house, and then came back in the next day to work, and then go to the hospital from there. But when I got hit in the knee, oh, dude, it was way worse for pain.
Yeah, the kneecap was bad. There's no meat there, nothing there to protect you. It's just straight kneecap, and it got me good. I'll never forget that.
So, there's actually a lot of comments about that too. It's everything about videos I always catch when somebody goes, "Why is the catcher pitching?" And I used to always pitch so much better without gear, and I probably still do for the most part. But it's not necessarily about. I pitch a lot of times, but I expect it. I react. I see where my pitch is going, especially against good teams, like where they should hit it, and you sit up on it. But it's usually the guy that you didn't expect to hit it there, or you're playing local. You're playing
sometimes you can't. Like I got lazy sometimes, and if you get lazy and not expecting, no matter where your pitch is, you might think, "Oh, that's inside. He can't hit that to me," or "That's way outside. He can't." That's when they get you. So I've learned, and I tell people, be ready every pitch, even if you think they can't hit it at you. They probably can, so be ready.
Was that a big adjustment for you? Because you pitched a lot of years without a mask or anything. And then when you started going to the gear, did you have to make some adjustments, or was it?
Not really. I went to the gear. I was probably the last one to go to the helmet. And just because, my pride for one, and I think I could still catch everything, this and that. But actually, the only reason I went to the mask, my teammates actually made me go to the mask. We were playing Helmer's team, and Cannell destroyed one at Travis Clark and hit him. And I was on base, and the next guy got a hit. When I scored, I used to carry a mask, but when I had scored, they had pulled the mask out of my bag and sat on top of my bag. When I got in, they said, "You're wearing that no matter what." And so from then on, I wore it.
It's smart because, like I said, when I got hit,
I'm glad I did. I would never, after I put that on, I would never not pitch with it again. And I would tell everybody, pitch with whatever's making you comfortable, no matter what, wear a mask.
Yeah, it's funny because after I got hit, I was so gun shy. Like I had somebody, "Hey, will you throw me a couple?" And I was just shaking because of getting hit. Like it messes you up. It could have been a lot worse. And I got lucky to get my eyesight back.
For sure.
But I got hit at Nationals by Thor, and I was wearing my mask. And it was hit. It hit me in the mask. I was wearing that Viper mask. I didn't feel nothing. Yeah. It turned the mask, hit me here, and I felt the next day a little bit here.
Right. It wasn't nothing like it would have.
But we got the outs, and I was fine. And it was, you're fine. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And then in Kansas City, I was leaning in front of the left. And I broke in front of one, and I knew I couldn't get my glove up, so I put my body in front of it, and I actually kind of turned the head to like try to wear it off the head, and I did. And their team was like, "This dude's nuts! Like this dude just stood in front of it and headbutted one." I'm like, "Well, I've already proven that I didn't feel nothing last time. Right. I wasn't hit as hard. I just couldn't get to it." And I didn't feel a thing. I headbutted it to first. We got the out. And Thor wrote me and said, "Why don't you ever try using your glove?" I said, "Well, statistically speaking, I've made more outs with the mask. So,
Right.
I mean, so why
Well,
would you
yeah,
change anything?"
the gears,
It's amazing.
the gear is great, and
Oh,
everybody should, no matter what. If you don't wear shin guards, whatever, that's on you. But if you go out there without a mask, you're risking your life. So I would never do that.
I'll tell you what, though. I had somebody ask me what the shin guards like. Really, shin guards? I go, have you ever hit your shin against like a ball hitch, and you want to end your life? Yeah. Now imagine that. and,
Shin's hurt. I've been hitting the shin before. That hurts, and
it's terrible.
I use the shin guards underneath. I use the Bauer hockey shin guards underneath my pants, and those are the best thing. You can get hit with a ball going 120. You don't even feel it. You don't even feel an ounce of it. So them Bauer hockey shin guards are super lightweight. They cover your knee, and they go all the way to the top to the bottom of your shin. And those are by far the best ones. And those were the best $185 I ever spent.
Yeah, because I've been hit a couple of times. I mean, I've been lucky. I made a lot of plays, and I've been pretty confident. But it's the one time you don't. You're like, wow, And we made some plays. Like I have a buddy that jokes all the time that whenever he plays with me, he's the 5-man or he's been third. I had one hit and the webbing broke in my glove, and I got real low to catch, and it broke, went right through the webbing, hit me in the shin guard right by my knee pad. In the air, he caught it at third. The guy came off the bag, so he tagged third, and then he threw the runner out at 1. That then I missed it, and we got a triple playoff. And I go, imagine that, dude. If I would have caught it, no way we're getting 3 outs.
No.
I'm like, worked out pretty well. And then he played with me again, and one got hit. And it hit me to the top of my foot, part of the shin guard. It ricocheted to him in the air. And he almost did the exact same thing. You have to double play out of it. He caught it at 5-man, tagged second for the 2, but he didn't get the runner at first that came off.
Right.
He got back.
Right.
I go, dude, this is like our thing.
That's
but
it.
The gear is just, there's times that it can get hotter, it can get whatever. You can feel blocky in it, pitching wise. But
don't matter though.
But man, safety is like one of the very first times I really like, because I got back to being confident not wearing the mask, and one of my teammates was like, dude, please put it on. It was a league night, and I'm like, I'm fine without it. He's like, I don't want to have to write your missus and tell her like hey, what happened. He just had a feeling, so I put it on. A guy hit a ball. I made the break on it, and it was ASA, so it knuckled back really hard. So I had him, and it knuckled back, and it caught me right here, and the first baseman caught it. And I'm like, I looked at him and I'm like, and I was wearing the Worth mask, which one thing I'll say is with the newer masks, the Worth mask was awesome. And it kept me from getting really messed up.
Yeah. But if you turn your head, that's where you get in trouble.
Yeah. And I felt it. And I probably had a slight concussion afterwards. My ears were ringing and my head was hurting. And the new ones with the air in them and everything else, I didn't feel nothing.
No.
But if I wouldn't put the mask on, it would have been a lot worse.
Would have been done. Yeah. I always tell everybody, wear everything you can to make you not scared.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to wear, with chest guard, whatever. We'll always wear a helmet, but everything else, wear everything you can wear that makes you not scared to pitch to somebody.
Thor felt pretty bad about hitting me, and I said, Thor, if anything,
he's a good guy too.
Like he hit me, and he hit me hard, and I go, if anything, it boosted my confidence. Unlike before, without the mask, when I got hurt, I was scared, I was gun shy, I was nervous all the time. I said, now you hit me with that shot, which was just as hard as anybody's going to hit it, and I stood there and took it. And I'm like, that boosted my confidence so much that I'm safe.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't need, you can step in front of it. And I actually made more plays since because you're not worried about who's hitting what.
Yeah, the equipment's going to work.
One of the questions that I'm looking through some of these other ones too, trying to find another really good one. The one that we talked about, like how you are on the field is a lot different from you're off the field. How important is that for not just as a ball player? Because, in the game too, there's a lot of guys that are just unreal talented, but they might not rub the right elbows, network right. They might not be the right person off the field because, especially nowadays, Anarchy, Louisville, Worth, all of them, they look for more than just how good you are on the field. It's how marketable you are, how you are people you're following, and everything else. How important is it to be able to flip that light switch on and off? To be that guy on the field and flip it off.
You don't like. I'm not a bad guy on the field. I'm just a different guy, right? So when I'm out there to play, I'm out there to win. I'm going to do anything I can, whether it's, talk shit, get in somebody's head, challenge the umpires, whatever I do. I don't do it. I don't think about doing it. I don't plan to do it. It's just my personality comes out because when I'm doing something, winning is everything to me at that moment, right? But that's just who I am. Now, when I'm off the field, if we're just talking or I'm going to the store, whatever, this is me. I'm mellow. I don't talk to many people unless they talk to me. But if they talk to me, I'll answer any question. But it's important for these back companies to have somebody that not only is good and is very talented on the field, but doesn't get in trouble off the field, because once you get in trouble off the field, they'll take your, I don't care how good you are, they'll take your back contract away, because that reflects on, they're wearing a Louisville Slugger, Easton, Deemery, Mike, and Worth, Easton. They're wearing these shirts we all wear them, who our sponsors are, right? So they don't want no bad pub on there. So it is important to be, to not get in trouble off the field.
It's one of those things that people ask me all the time. I get that question a lot. Like, what can I do with this and that? So I can take you to get you opportunity. When I play a lot of the open tournaments where people are at, give you a chance to get seen. I was like, but you got to watch your actions. Like, there's one kid around here that's really, really good. And I talked to him. I said, man, you're so talented and everything else. But I said, I wouldn't even take you to then, because when things don't go your way, you blow up and you show your ass. And it's like, everybody gets, look at Shrum. Shrum's one of the best teammates, but I get to play with him last year. He makes an out and he's ripping his gloves apart, and you think he's going to murder somebody. And then you make an out or whatever and get us to come over and give you this talk and this speech. And you're like, oh man, thanks. I really appreciate that. And you're like,
yeah, listen, I want the best example of not getting mad when I make outs. I can go 31 for 31. If I'm making it out my 32nd at bat, I'm losing my shit. Yeah. But that's just me, because I take everything I do personal, as far as I feel like if I don't do this, it's my fault we lost, right? So I'm more mad at myself than anybody could ever be mad at me. Do I express it the right way sometimes? No. But people I think dealt with it some, because they know who I am as a person, and they know that I'm not mad at them. I'm mad at myself for failing. I don't accept failure well. Did I take it too far sometimes? Yes, I admit I'm a big boy. I admit my mistakes. But people like to hate on me, but if they're on my team, they want to be on my team. And they once they're on my team, they understand who I am, what I'm about, and they have my back. And I can't thank all my ex-teammates enough, because they all have my back, always.
Yeah.
Always. I always have guys come up to me and say, yeah, everybody asks me, how's it playing with Andy? And they tell them, it's great, because he's crazy on the field, but he's one of the best guys ever off the field. So you just got to deal with his craziness. But he's the guy out there standing 50 feet away, people trying to knock his head off. And so he expects a lot out of us. And I expect a lot out of all my teammates. If I didn't expect anything out of you, I wouldn't get upset if things happen. But I expect you to be perfect, just like I expect myself to be perfect. I know we're not going to be perfect, but you have to have that expectation. You have to have that goal, or what are you fighting for?
Yeah.
To be average? Nobody wants to be average. I don't want to be average.
Yeah, it's a lot. And I mean, that's a lot of people, man. They want that opportunity. They want the chance. They want it. And then you get them there, and they just play, and they overplay and so overplay. I'm like, hey, man, I respect all you guys and everything. And like I've told you this when we talk, like, but when I play you, I'm trying to bring my best to you too.
For sure.
Even if you kick my ass, I'm bringing you my best. I'm not going to lay down. And if my best ain't good enough, then whatever. But I'm coming to prove something. Otherwise, I'm not coming just to say I step on the field with you. And I think a lot of guys kind of lose that fight, that hunger sometimes. And it's like, I don't know if you get it because you're down in Florida, but I watch a lot of Shoresy like on Hulu, and from Canada, and it's hockey, but it's just the shit talking and stuff. And it's like, play to win or don't play at all. You've always reminded me of that. Like when watching you with the guys, like more hands make less work. Play together, more hands make less work, and play to win or don't play at all.
Yeah.
Like, why are you here? If
you're
coming to win, why'd you show up?
You got a thick skin on our teams too, because listen, we're gonna be your worst critic, not the coaches, not the sponsors. If you're up there and you take a selfish swing on our teams, we're going to let you know, not anybody else. Your peers are going to let you know. And if you can't take criticism when you've done something wrong, then you're not going to last, because you're going to get it no matter what. You're going to hear it from the leaders on the team, whether it's all the guys or there's usually 2 or 3 leaders on the team. They're going to come up to you and tell you, don't fucking do that again, dude.
Just being around Greg.
Don't do it again.
You can tell Greg coming up, in the game around you guys. It's either was most definitely him from the first place, or that's where he got it from. Because even playing like a league with them or playing something local, he will give you the business to fuck with you and give it to you. He give it to you harder than anybody else.
Yeah.
And I was like, Bubba was always quiet. Bubba was pretty good at it too when he wants to be, when he gets chirpy. But
Bubba don't say many words. He don't say many words.
I went for a live, and it was just like, what's your mindset in this situation? just short answer, and I'm like,
oh,
I gotta start talking. I gotta keep this thing going.
Hit it hard.
But he doesn't. I mean, like, what's your workouts like? Never mind. Next question.
Right. Right.
but yeah, it's one of those things that I've always respected seeing out of you and give it. It seemed like your last couple of years of playing, you did enjoy and smile a little bit more, seeing in some of the situations.
I wasn't as hard on my teammates, I guess, as far as everything. I was a little, and just different things. Listen, I'm older too. I played with these young guys when I was 53 years old. So, eventually I had to grow up a little bit. So, less things got to me as hard. I think things still got to me, but they didn't hit me as hard, but they still hit me hard because I care so much and I didn't want to fail.
I think one of the things, kind of going back to a reference with Shorzy, is one of the things every season they have a new thing, and last season was set the tone. Like if they're bad, and I stole, they're hockey players, so they always give them the lumber, they want to give them the stakes, check them hard. And I'm always like, I refer to our bats, like it was flash some leather, come back and give them the thunder or give them the lumber.
Right.
And kind of get things going. And then set the tone was a big one. Like if we're hitting first, set the fucking tone.
Right.
And then, but one of the things is like, I got kind of pissy and said, man, what's wrong with you? I said, I hate losing. I absolutely hate losing. And somebody said something. I was like, listen, you show me someone that's okay with losing, I'll show you a loser.
Right.
Like that's just how I am. But I also learned too, I learned this a lot from Whaley too, is like, you got to take that time. Maybe you got to go for that. You got that break where we go for a walk for a minute, take it in, clear your head, adjust, reset, come back to the next game. Next game's a new game, and that's one of the things I took. And I watched a lot from like watching you. Like there's times that I come talk to you. You guys took a loss, and I can just tell by your face and be like, no, let's give him a few minutes. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's what.
Give him a minute.
All my teammates, everybody, they always gave me time after a loss. And like I said, all I want from my teammates is to care. Now, do they have to take to extreme as I take it? No, but you have to care for me to want you for me to want to play with you. You can't just not care if we lose, not care. Do you have to take it as hard as I take it, as mad as I get? No, but you can't accept losing.
Bryson Baker said, "What? You actually get mad making it out?" He said, "He's just kidding."
I love that guy. He's one of my better friends. I played with him a long time, and he's probably never seen me too mad. But
that's one of the questions I was going to ask you, because I say this as a pitcher all the time too. Like I'm only as good as the guys behind me, and a lot of people say that relationship between a pitcher and his 5-man are so crucial. And who's been one of your faves that behind you in that role? Like for you, just really click with. It seems like you guys just really.
I mean, we always click. I've been lucky. I've clicked with all my players behind me. Whether it was, early on, I had Johnny Mello at shortstop and Todd Martin in the middle. Then it went to junior at shortstop. I had Rainier in the middle. I had, quite a few people in the middle, and we clicked. But the reason we have Bryson in the middle. But the reason we clicked is because we worked together and we respected each other on what we wanted to do. If they wanted to do something, we would do it. If I wanted them to do something, they would do it. So it's easy to click when you're on the same page, and you have to be on the same page with your teammates. If you're not on the same page, you're not going to click. I don't care how good a friend you are. If you're not on the same page, you're not going to click. So it was easy for me to click with everybody.
That makes a lot of sense. And honestly, like, I know with who I have behind me, the times that I feel like, man, that was fun. That was fun pitching. I was able to do things, try things, whatever I knew. If the guy missed or whatever, you're out, like my guys were making the plays. And it boosts your confidence, and then really lets you come unglued and have that relationship. It means a lot. And you've been a part of some very unreal teams. You look back at history, and that's one of the things I like to see you AAA kind of do. It's growing as well, and it's doing better with the videos and posting a lot of footage. To go back to the archives and pull up like Jeff Wallace and some of the guys like Kevin Philby, guys that I think players of today, they're going to forget about and won't recognize. It won't be as familiar as like me coming up. Like I'm 40, so I'm not young, but coming up, those were the guys that were like, holy shit, they were the difference makers. The guys that changed the game in a lot of ways. Guys like yourself and so many others. I was referencing J.C. Phelps the other day, just kind of joking around, like I'm just trying to get yoked like J.C. Phelps, and they're like, who the fuck's that? And I'm like, oh, buddy, you play softball and you don't know who that is? And that's what gets me. And that's why I like doing this as well. Is I've reached out to like Denny, You talk about
Right.
like a guy that looked like he never tried swinging, like just so
Right.
smooth. I said, "Crying, I want to get you on here. He's so busy with baseball, but he's another one I want to get on here and have that with, because I think it's important too for the people coming up in the game to learn
for
from
sure.
that. I mean,
No
you're
doubt.
getting such good advice. You've talked to me personally at the Dudley one year. You gave me some really great advice for hitting to become a better hitter. What about pitching? What are some things that guys that are coming up, they're trying to become a better pitcher, can work on to become better?
Well, I think first and foremost is you can't just throw four seamers. That you got to learn the knuckleball somehow, some way. But even if you don't have the knuckleball, you gotta pay attention to batters. Well, first of all, don't be afraid to throw balls, right? Don't be afraid to walk people. Now, if you walk people, too many people, then that's a problem. But you can't go up there thinking, oh, I can't walk this guy. You got to go up there thinking, this is where I'm going to throw it, and I'm going to try to make him swing here. So have some confidence. Work on, if you have to practice off to the side, practice off to the side where you could throw a strike or close enough to a strike to make them swing at any time you want. Right? If you're struggling throwing strikes, you're not going to be successful because they know it. They can see it in your face and your pitches, and they're just going to sit there and wait for the best one. But if you can consistently throw strikes, they're going to have to swing at a pitch you're going to want them to swing at because you're going to make it close. I never tried to throw a strike unless I had to 3-1. Every other pitch, I'm trying to throw it close to a strike because
50-50.
nobody wants to watch a pitch. Nobody wants to watch a strike. Nobody wants to strike out. So I tried to throw it as close to a strike as possible, the way I wanted to throw it. If I got the 3-1, I would try to throw it right down the middle. And then at 3-2, I'm throwing it close again. If I walk him, I walk him. If I don't, I don't. But if you throw it close, most people are swinging. Now, they're either going to get themselves out, you're going to get them out, but nobody wants to take a third strike. So I would say work on being able to throw a strike at all times and get that confidence. Don't be afraid to throw. Don't be afraid to walk somebody and protect yourself. Don't be scared.
No, you've been in that role of being the guy for so many years. Like I said, if not, I'd have to say you're probably the greatest pitcher of all time. If I don't think anybody would argue that. You get in here, we get the. I don't think there's the Jordan LeBron conversation here, but that's what I always say. To be respectful, I always say one of the best, if not the best, but I would say the best. But do you think it's easier being in that role also when you have that other good backup pitcher or other? It's stuff like I say. I don't necessarily call the backup, but we have another really good pitcher, so I know that. I think sometimes it takes pressure off me because like if I ain't got today, like if it's just not there, whatever reason, like I want it and I want to be the guy on the mound, but if it's not. It's not.
I mean, it's always obviously you want to have. I've been fortunate to have very good backup pitchers. I've had backup pitchers that would be starters in every other team, right? But like I said, I'll be honest. I never thought about if I did bad, can they, are they going to come in? I went out there. I knew what I was supposed to do. I expected to be who I'm supposed to be, and if I wasn't, then they would bring somebody in who could do the job. And then if they wanted me to come back in, I'm coming back in. But it's always nice to have a good back pitcher. Like I said, all my backup pitchers are starters on every team in the country. So, and you have to have somebody who accepts that role. Not everybody can go be a backup pitcher. They'll get mad if they're not pitching or if this guy's struggling, I should be in there. That's where you bring problems. So you got to have somebody who knows their roles too. Everybody has roles, and it's hard to find the people who have specialty roles, coming late defensively as an infielder or an outfielder or a backup pitcher. It's hard to find those people who have roles. So when you do have those people that accept their roles and are good teammates the whole time, no matter whether they get it or not, you treat those people well because those are hard to find. Those are very hard to find. So you better respect them. You better treat them right, and make sure you don't lose them.
That's why I asked the question because it seems like sometimes a pitcher they'll struggle by themselves because they're worried about if they don't, this other guy's coming in. Instead of being confident, like, hey, what if he does come in? Relax, do your thing, focus.
He comes in, he'll come to get out. You have to be confident, though. You can't. I don't care who you are. You can't look over his shoulder. Nobody wants to play looking over their shoulder, whether you're a hitter, defender, or a pitcher. So just do your thing. If you have a backup pitcher, do your thing. If he has to come in, fine, he comes in. But guess what? You're the starter. You're not going to lose this starting job unless you have to come out every game. And that's only you to blame now, right? You have nobody to blame but yourself. So just pitch to your best ability. If you got to come out one game, come out, that guy will do the job, and guess who started the next game? You are, because you're the starter.
I brought that up with other guys that like, some guys that lost the opportunity to play with the team or whatever because they didn't know if they wanted to be a role player or this or that. And I said, yeah, when you're coming up and you're young, take that spot and you go in and do a job. Just because you went in, a guy was 0 for 2 and you came in, you got a couple hits. Don't be pissed if you're not starting the next game because you might be giving that guy that time to adjust because hands down, he's proven himself. He's been here longer. He's got the resume. And you're giving him that break to adjust because he's going to come back stronger and he's going to be the better option. Now, if that person's still struggling, you go back and keep doing a job. You might earn a starting spot. You might earn whatever. But just because you got hot one game when a guy struggled doesn't mean you're better than him or you got the spot. Like people kind of like in time earn that. If you're coming in for – top of my head, you coming in for flip or for grinder or something like that, and you get a couple hits. I'm like, yeah, I just took his job. Like, no, you didn't take his job, buddy. You did what you're supposed to do. You did your job.
What you're supposed to do. But that backup spot, whether you're a backup pitcher, first baseman, whatever, that depending on what your team you're on, you being a backup on that specific team can turn you into a starter the following year on another team.
Yeah.
That says, look, if he's good enough to be a backup guy, or I've seen him come in and have success, that turns you into a starter on another team that might give you a better opportunity. So
kind of knowing to take that role too, like learning. I think I got a friend that's he's been a part of some really good teams. And he's been that guy that's come off the bench, been that role player guy. And I think now more than ever, I tell him that he's at that age now where it's time for him to kind of make that move and be that starter, go where he can be the guy. But I think it was important for him to take that time to learn from so many great people and to go in and and he did big spots, big role to fill, big shoes. He's done a great job. But he learns so much that now when he goes and he becomes a starter somewhere else, he has a lot of experience and confidence and knowing that he's been in these big spots, that he will have more success as the starter than he would have been if he just went and started somewhere.
No doubt. Take advantage of your role. Whenever you get in, take advantage of it, and good things will happen eventually.
You know, kind of going through here, man, we talked about so many good things. I probably should have been checking them off, and we talked about so much. But we talked about somebody shooting the box on you, but as you became, such a strong hitter and one of the best in the game, who was a pitcher that you either enjoyed facing because of the battle or was like, it was kind of one of your toughest opponents?
I never really had a pitcher that I enjoy. I mean, listen, well, first of all, I don't want to sit there and say I enjoyed facing this guy because it's like, oh, he stunk, right? So, as I worked on my hitting and got better, I didn't really care who was out there because I was so confident in my ability to hit now that it didn't matter to me. You know what I mean? I had more fun playing the tougher teams because I want that battle, right? Playing our Friday night games, being the 1 seed all the time, playing a local team. Sometimes back in the day, we would have D teams ask to play us first and this and that. And that's when I made more of my outs than I made on Saturday afternoon to Sundays. I made more of my outs Friday nights, Saturday mornings against the lesser teams because I was always into it. But there's always that next level when you're playing another.
You still get some shit you wouldn't know.
You flip that switch a little bit. And I never not flipped the switch, but there's always another level when you're playing a tougher team. And I enjoy playing those games. I had more success later in the tournament than I had early in the tournament.
I'll tell you one battle that I enjoyed watching was you and the Amish kids going at it, man. I mean, they're not really now. They're like one of the top teams. But
a couple of years ago, those guys, they kicked my ass in Chicago. I mean, I couldn't get them out. Everything I did, it was funny. They beat our ass in, and we had a bad weekend. I think we might have went 1-2 or 0-2 even, but we faced them, and they kicked our ass. But we're playing them, and they're making every play. Every time they get a hit, it's a double. And it was funny. They were diving, making every play, and Tommy Melton came in. He goes, and I'll never forget. He comes in. He goes, "They're everywhere," because no matter what we did, they were there, and they beat our ass. But those guys are great. I love the way they play.
That's what reminds me of like Tom. Like I always tell everybody that Tommy's probably one of the greatest players I've ever played with, and it's not just for his ability or talent. It's just his personality, his attitude. Like you could be having a shit day, and Tommy will get you smiling.
Yeah,
because
Tommy's
of who he is.
I mean.
And that's what the Amish remind me of. Like every Amish team reminds me of. They just have a bunch of Tommies that go 120 all the time.
Yeah. They never stop. I love the way the Amish guys play, dude. They're fun to watch, and they care. Yeah. That's why I think I like them even more because they care. They care like I care, and they're there to win. They'll stay at the park. They'll play 5 games, stay at the park, watch 6 games, and play again. because they
talking
care.
smack in Dutch and
Yeah,
it's
because they
hilarious.
care though, and I love it. I love it.
Oh yeah, I could tell. Like you could tell you guys were battling. You can see that you know, you had your game face on. You're getting pissed. And I was like, I bet if anything at the end of this game, he's gonna say something to him because they just earned his respect. They came to
I did.
battling
I told them off to the side. This is before they even, started getting upper and upper. And I was like, dude, I love the way you guys play. Keep doing it.
They're where they kept having success and playing as good as they did. But I think those games, I just remember that being everywhere, like them playing you, and people highlighting them playing you and facing you and them battling like that. I think like the first time they played you really kind of put them on the map.
Yeah,
With,
they
eyes on
everything they've got, all the praise that they got, they've earned it all.
Yeah,
I have nothing but good things to say about those guys.
And the guys up and coming, like we played them last year. The young guys that are up and coming,
yeah,
we lost to them. It was
they all
close.
got little brothers.
We took
they
third.
all got little brothers playing in C now. They're gonna be up there pretty soon too.
Yeah. And they all play each other.
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about. We were talking them off to the side. We stayed and watched their game and supported them, and it was bittersweet. Like taking third, nobody expected us to be on that ride, and hopping on with the guys and having that ride with them was awesome because I played with them when they've been part of Portland Box other team with G.O.A.T. So to be asked to come back and be a part of that ride meant a lot, and that's what I'm playing with this year. But we also sat back to watch them because it was just playing against them was fun. Like they just tested you. Like you got to hit because they don't give up. And we were talking about the side. And they said, "Oh yeah, we all play each other, playing leagues against each other and practice against each other." Holy shit! No wonder you guys are so good. Like you're constantly playing against some of the best, and it's like a farm program.
Right.
They have their own farm system. I guess funny it's Amish, but the system that like they get better and better throughout the years. They got a dynasty going.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree.
Speaking of, you kind of had a dynasty going, right? A lot of wins back to back with Rismondo.
Yeah.
What was one of the, we talked about your ride, but it's hard to say one of the funniest because you've had a lot of good teammates. But what was one of the most memorable you think in your book of years playing?
Like games and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd say, team wise, just characters on the team, like teammates, like
teammates. There's so many personalities. It's crazy, man. I mean, from the Rulies who are just little crazy men to Rusty, who's loud and boisterous. BJ Folks, one of the funniest guys and best teammates I've ever had. That guy, you can be doing the worst, and he just makes you laugh. OG, KP, and Zirkle, they were on my team 1 or 2 years. I used to get in screaming matches with Zirkle, and then we became teammates and became good friends. And those guys would just egg me on to try to make me laugh when I was mad, and they were great teammates. And so I listen. I've had so many great teammates. It's crazy. Bryson, all these guys. I don't want to just name a few because they've all just. I've had so many different personalities to play with that it was amazing. It was the best times of my life. It was crazy.
What was some of the best battles? Because I mean, I remember your long haul was really hot, had a really stacked team. You mentioned Laser Vision.
We always battled Helmer's teams. I would say one of my favorite wins was in the World Series, the rain game against G.O.A.T. We were can't remember what year it was, maybe 16 or something. I don't remember, but. We were 1 out away from getting run ruled by G.O.A.T. in the pouring rain at Disney. And in the 5th inning, we were 1 out away from being run ruled, and we came back and beat them. And that game's on YouTube everywhere. That game was one of my favorite games ever because obviously back then, we were winning everything. Everybody hated us. So the whole crowd at Disney was rooting for G.O.A.T, which is understandable, and that kind of gave us fire always too, because we knew going to the parks, nobody wanted us to win except our families and our friends, right? So, but they were hooting and hollering. The stands were going crazy. They were about to run rules, and then boom, 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 we won. And they're like, that was the thing about our teams back then, the Rismondo teams back then from 2001 to 2016. It didn't matter if we were down by 1 or down by 21 or 31, we knew we were going to win. You can ask Cornell about if you ever see him. He was in our dugout 1 or 2 years, and he's like, now I understand why you guys always win. Nobody cared. We didn't get mad at each other. We got mad at each other, but we didn't get down like, oh, we lost this game. I never heard one time we were going to lose ever. We could be down by 25. We knew we were going to come back and win. So that was just a fun experience to be around.
Do you think that mindset? I mean, there's still some of the top teams that seem to have it, but do you think that mindset's kind of lost, or do you think it's still?
I don't. I'm not in the dugout, so I think that run we had for those 15, 16 years. I don't know if anybody will be able to match that, but those mindsets we had on those teams were second to none. I mean, I listen. I'm not in everybody's dugout. I would find it hard to believe that everybody felt the way we felt at all times. I find that hard to believe.
I asked it because you watch a lot. Like I know you're out there; it's part of your job now and everything, and just seeing your presence out there. But you're in and out a lot, like paying attention to a lot, and watching a lot of games, and proactive. Kind of like
right.
Corny is probably one of the biggest workhorses. And seeing you this year, like I've seen you so much, like not just back where I expect to see, like you're all over the ballpark, everywhere up in India, and you see a lot. So I was interested to ask because you know what it takes to win. You know what I mean? And up and coming and watching these guys and getting your viewpoints on it means a lot because, like I said, I got lucky coming up in the generation I did around some really good guys. Even when I started pitching, I didn't expect to do it. I got kind of thrown into it and ended up loving it. But I had, the Mike Horton, I talked to you about him before, had a nasty knuckle too, and I wish I could throw it like that. I've had my times where it's been pretty sick, but he was good at it. He reminded me so much of yours that way, and he was the one that kind of taught me trust your pitch.
Right.
Like don't, if you got a pump fake and all that's added. But if you pump fake 15, 16 times and you can't throw a strike or you can't do what you want,
it means nothing. The higher level you go, it means nothing because they're just waiting.
And then Timmy Chapo taught me to be crazy up there. You got to convince yourself you like getting hit. You got to convince yourself that this is what you choose to do because you enjoy it. And, you get hit, have that mentality. And that's probably why when I go up there, I'm kind of asking to get, like, I mean,
right.
Patsy always tells me you're full of shit. I'm like, no, I mean, if I go up there going, oh, God, I don't want this guy to blow me up. I said, then I'm probably going to get blown up and it's probably going to hurt more. And it's probably going to be, but I go up there like, hit me, motherfucker. Like, do it.
Right.
I mean, even if I don't like it, probably better mindset.
Yeah, you can't show it. You just can't show it.
And then Brad Bernowski taught me like 50-50. Don't go up there and throw a first pitch strike just because you think you got to get ahead and you throw that cookie. Right. Like 50-50. Kind of the same thing. Trust your pitch. And man, such good mentors, but also the same way, like when we played together, we could be chasing 17 and Doc A, I don't know, Joe Bustinelli, military guy at Doc A's Combat years ago. He'd be pulling his hair out, freaking out. And the older guys, Skeeter and Johnson, those guys would be like, Doc, don't worry about it. We got this. It's only 17, Doc. Don't worry about it. And we come back and win because that mentality of we're not out, man. Like you might be up right now, but that's only temporary. And I remember like going to Worlds. One of the favorite thing about having a Disney, and that's one of the next things I was going to go to because you're out Disney. Watching you guys, there's two things we always look forward to as the guys come up in the game. One, here comes your newest bat reveal. The next one's going to be following here. Probably going to see it used in action. And there's going to be a handful of them for sale at the park. But for two, watching you guys and being able to kind of get close to the dugouts and hear a little bit and see that mentality and what you bring to the table was one of my all-time favorites. And, to sit there, we have our own tournament going on. But when we're not playing, we're sitting there watching you guys because we want to pick it up. Like, especially guys that are really all about it. And for me, that's why growing and being there. Like my brother took a different route. He did more coaching. But I tell him this is everything I accomplished for both of us because I know he'd love to be able to do what I do too.
Right.
But I think if I wouldn't have had the opportunity to be there to watch you guys, this also wouldn't have been a thing.
Right.
I mean, it all took apart. So like learning that from you guys, and you guys, I always put this like somebody's always watching you, learn from you, whether you know it or not.
Right.
You have an impact on someone. You guys most definitely made that impact on me from all the years watching. Let me see here. What's the next one that came in? So Bryson Baker said Seattle was a good trip. That was a good one.
Yeah. Seattle, Seattle's always fun. We during our off time, we stayed at a hotel across the street from the main park where you just walk to it, and there our whole team gathered in. We went and bought this. It was on a golf course, and we stopped at this boat store and bought this giant air horn, and then we were at our window and we kept air horning people when they're trying to hit the golf balls, and they were getting so mad at us, and it was just the time. It's just some stupid things you do. We're not harming anybody, but we're they got mad at us. They went and told the hotel and all that. But for those 30, 45 minutes or an hour we did that, you would have thought we were 12-year-olds. I mean, just the greatest time ever, running down the hall to the weight room, spraying the horn in our room, doing the horn. They would get all pissed off at us. We had some guy banging. We were hiding in the room. The golfer's banging his thing on the window like we're 12-year-old kids scared. But it was just a good time. So that's why he brings up Seattle probably.
Reggie says, ISA national champs. I know it's your biggest accomplishment ever. Reggie Schulte.
Oh, I played with Reggie before it. And that's another thing. Like back in the day, we played all the 4 associations. So I was on such good teams. Like in 2001 and 2003, we won all 4 worlds that same year. We won the Grand Slam, the softball in 2001, 2003, and NSA, ISA, ASA, and U-Trip. So those 2 years are special to me.
So trying to look at some of these and all these questions coming in. Yeah, Reggie's my guy. I love having
Reggie's a good dude. I like Reggie.
We have some stories ourselves together. He's played some of the backwoods tournaments, like especially way up north where I'm from, where I graduated with 28 people.
Right.
Played some fun tournaments up there, and he stayed at our farm. And I warned him. I said, "You can sleep in my old room, but my dad swapped my bed out, so there's only like a single bed in there." Well, that's fine. I said, "No, but it's like short." He's like, "I like to let my feet hang." And he went and laid in there, and he's so tall that his legs are almost touching his feet was almost touching the floor.
I believe it.
That's fine, man. Just watch out for the squirrel traps because there's also a hole in the floor right over there. So, but he's such a good dude. But then again, wait, when are we going next year? Like without missing a beat, anybody else would like, I'm never doing that again.
Right.
Like, hey, when we go next year?
No doubt.
You know, so, love him to death. Talk about Disney because we brought that up here a moment ago, and so many memories, so many like being there watching you play, and now moving to Space Coast. And I know maybe it's tough one being a part of each place to say, but which one, in your opinion, was your favorite? Was Disney or
it's different. The reason it's different, obviously, Disney was outstanding. It was great, and the reason that it was different was, listen, Disney had 32 fields we could work with, so we had every single division, men's, women's, the same weekend, right? So that atmosphere, nothing's going to be like that atmosphere. They had 32 fields. We can have every women's and men's division the same weekend, except for co-ed, and you have thousands upon thousands of people there. At Space Coast, we only have 9 fields to work with, so you can't have every division. You have to split them up, So the atmosphere will always be a little bit different. We still get the crowds at Space Coast that we can have, but they're never going to be crowds like Disney because we don't have the field capacity.
Yeah. I think it's gotten better too. Like with having it, it seems like a little bit later, a little bit more. The crowds have been better. I think at first, I remember we played the military. The military used to be in August, and that sucked having it there in August. That was like so hot. But just getting the people to show up because now, like with live streaming, let people go back to their room and watch at the room or their team house or Airbnb
Right.
and watch. And I think having it a little bit later and being cooler at night. I think night games, early morning games, you see a lot more people there. But last year, a couple times that we went out as a team, like there was a lot of. It seemed like we had a pretty good crowd.
Yeah. I mean, people are still coming to watch here at Space Coast, and the fields obviously are better, and with live streaming and all that. But like I said, the atmosphere will never be as many people because we can't have as many people there. When you can have every division of every gender, male and female, have every division the same weekend, you're going to have an atmosphere like no other. So if we had more fields, the atmosphere would be the same as Disney, but we don't. So you're just not going to get those same huge crowds.
Yeah, Disney was special, and also too because you had to come in right past the field.
Yeah. I mean, listen, those were amazing. I have nothing but great things to say about Disney, playing at Disney, and all the times we had there was amazing.
I love Space Coast a lot too. I
like them both, a lot. Yeah, I have nothing bad to say.
It'd be fun if we still had an event or events at Disney, and then also had Space. I think that would be pretty cool. Just because I miss it, like the people that didn't get to experience it, it was something. But
right, it was crazy. It was definitely crazy.
You talked about you played, back you used to play all associations, a lot of different events. What was one of your favorite non-conference events?
Or just like backyard tournament type thing.
Yeah.
We always used to go to the Boons and play that before the season started. That was always fun. We would Toys for Tots was always fun. We'd always get together in December and go play Toys for Tots in Palm Springs. That's was a blast. I mean, there used to be so many teams and so many people there, and it was for a good cause, obviously. But the Toys for Tots, I think, in December in Palm Springs was one of my favorite non-sanctioned tournaments, just fun tournaments.
I hear the Boons quite a bit. The Boons,
but I used to go to Boone's all the time too. He was a teammate of mine, so we always supported him at that anyway. But that one and especially Palm Springs was more competitive. Boone's was more fun.
You got Corny and BJ going at each other. BJ said, "Tell him who your favorite catcher of all time is. I'll wait." And Corny said, "Go back to bed, BJ."
Tell BJ I already said good things about him, so that's all he gets. No, BJ's one of my favorite all-time teammates and favorite all-time people. I went to his wedding. He's just a flat-out good person. That's a good, fun person. That's all I can say.
So Jason Rogers said, and this would be a tough one because we've kind of gone through the history a little bit and your teammates and the respect you have for all of them. But it said if you were to build who would be on your dream team of slow pitch softball? So if you're going to build your own dream team, who would be on it?
No, man, I can't even. There's just too many people.
Right.
Too many people that I played with so many good teammates that I don't know if I could make a top 12 players because it's too hard. I mean, obviously I'd have a junior at shortstop and I'd have Ruley in the middle because Ruley and Ruley's a crazy man, but he cares like me. I think those two guys care like me, and Ruley would literally jump in front of a car for you if you were his teammate. I mean, and that guy can hit it anywhere. Bryson, BJ, Cannell, back in the day, Rusty, Wallace, the list goes on and on, dude. I can't say everybody, but Howie Krause, one of the best probably the best first baseman I've ever had, and can just destroy it. I mean, all these guys are incredible. Listen, I've won a lot, and it's not just because of me. So these guys were so good and such good. I talk to a lot of them still to this day. So we weren't just teammates; we became friends.
I think that's one of the biggest things that people don't understand about the game when they take this time. We'll go back to post comments. It's a lot of people I consider family that
oh, for sure,
that aren't blood that I never would have known or met if it wasn't for this game.
No doubt.
It's one of the special things about it. I know we've been on here for a while. I just wanted to ask you guys a couple more to kind of finish it up. And I appreciate it too. The fact that you're on here means a lot to me. And like I said, just come up. I had so many questions for you to pick your brain, and you've answered so many. You talking about the championships, the awards, and the decorations and the personal accolades, and the way you credit your team. Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't happen, if you don't get to those if you don't get those at bats, if you don't get those games in for all those years, a lot of good players around you that have been a part of it. How hard was it when you retired to walk away from it?
Oh, it was crazy hard. Crazy. And as far as the teammates, look, did I throw a good knuckleball? Yes. Could I field the ball? Yes. Did I make people miss? Yes. But I didn't strike everybody out. So if you don't have good teammates behind you, you're not going to have the success that I had. These guys were all the best everywhere, right? So catcher, outfielder, we all worked together as a team. And did I do my part? Hell yeah, I did. But I made these guys miss, but you know what? These guys caught everything that I made miss. So, that I can't, like I said, they can say I'm the GOAT, this and that, and I really appreciate that a lot, but boy, did I have a lot of help behind me. I lost track. What was the question?
How hard it was the kind of
walking away. It was tough, man. It was tough. When you do something for 31 years, it's in your blood. So I had a hard time, but I can't accept failure. You know what I mean? So I could probably go out there now and get on a team and get people out. I have no doubt in my mind, but I can't hit. And if I can't hit and I make outs, I feel like I'm not helping the team. And my body listen, I'm going to be 55 this year. My body just can't do it, right? But the BP before the World Series started, every game after that was a tough emotional ride for me.
What about on the senior side? Yeah,
I don't have time for that, man.
busy.
I'm too busy doing the conference, traveling every other weekend. When I don't travel, I put all my softball passion into golf. I golf every day. Every day after work, I golf, and I put everything, that love and passion I have for softball, all my energy is going into golf right now, and I love it. But I have to have something to do like that. If I didn't have that, I don't know what I would do. But do I want to play softball still? Yes, I want to play it. I love this. I love the game. I love being around it. I love the competitiveness. But as you know, if you've seen me play, I don't accept failure well, and I don't want to go out there and embarrass myself, and I don't want to go out there and fail. And it's not failing because I don't practice. It's failing because your Father Time is undefeated, and Father Time caught up to me. I gave him a hell of a ride, though.
Yeah, he did. Talk about just man, just the memories I have myself personally watching you, and then all the highlights and seeing there's times even just watching that video because I was gonna make the video like I always do, and I was like, there's no beat in this video. It just covered so many great people talking on that video, and just talking about your career and your history and some of the highlights that I didn't even see them. Like when holy shit, I didn't even know I made that play, or just some of the stuff that you did. I'm like, wow, and it fires you up. It's like as a pitcher in the game, just watching that fired me up to do more. You know, what I mean, that's where I think walking away, like Patzig, I was trying to see if he was available tonight too, because Patzig was a big part of Big Daddy Hacks for a long time. He's been really busy, but I try to get him on here when I can. But one of the things that he always said that stuck with me is leaving the game better than you found it. And you most definitely did that. You made your impact on it.
Right. No, I appreciate that. And I try to get back. That's why I want to do what I'm doing. Like, softball is great to me. Softball gave me a lot of shit in my life, a lot of memories, a lot of friends. So I like being around it to give back to these people and to give back to the players that love it like I do. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I'm not a guy who goes out there and says, hey, what's up, and says hi to everybody, but I will say hi to anybody who says hi to me, and I will answer any question ever asked of me. I'm a quiet, I'm a polar opposite off the field. I'm just a quiet dude who just minds his own business and tries to have fun.
Yeah, I was amazed because Griner can have that same way. People see Griner and like, oh fuck that dude. But you go talk to him and he's one of the greatest guys. He's funny. And when I came up and asked you about doing this, and you're just like, yeah, I'd love to do it. I'm like, well, I didn't know how I was going to go. You know what I mean? We talked several times, but I didn't know how you'd feel about doing it live, and it's awesome. And the fact that BJ and Cornell are just blowing up this message feed right now.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they got plenty to say. I promise you.
We brought BJ on. We did his, and then we brought BJ and we brought Greg on to do a roundtable. And pretty soon BJ is just like, "Are you in your living room?" He's like, "Yeah." And pretty soon he's just laying on the couch. He was just laying on the couch doing live. He is such a character.
Yeah, BJ is just, he's another level. He's funny as hell.
Corny said, "Who the hell is House Cat?" And then Bryson Baker's like, "Corny, that's hilarious." And then, BJ, we're just
that's all inside. That's inside stuff. That's very funny.
Yeah. Bryson Baker, you watching the bat phone? These guys are just back and forth.
More inside stuff. Very funny. Those guys are great, man. Like I said, I talk to those guys all the time, and they're like family to me.
Well, I'll go one kind of just like open question, like not open, but lighthearted one. Like what's one of your go-to food places? You do a lot of traveling, right? So you've been to a lot of areas, played a lot of ball. Was there any place that you look forward to going and just like off the field, you're gonna get some food?
I'm not afraid to eat, so there's really there's not some place I just want to go to eat. Anywhere that has good food, I'm ready to go. I like steak. I'm a steak person, so anything that serves steak. But I've been fortunate enough to go to some great steakhouses, Ruth Chris and these places like that. I've been lucky that has some sponsors that treat us at these places. But as far as food, listen, I'm a fat guy. I like to eat, so nothing specific, to be honest with you.
So
my main thing, I'll tell you, that we did for 15, 16 years, every day at BP, I would have a Mountain Dew Slurpee. I'm a Mountain Dew guy, but we would call them carny games. So I would get my Mountain Dew Slurpee. I'd drink about half or 3/4 of it. We'd be out hitting BP. I'd set it up and we would play games trying to hit it from, 75 yards away. First one to hit it wins. So we would play the carny games with my Mountain Dew Slurpee every BP, and that was a staple. That was a staple.
That's
Mountain
awesome.
Dew Slurpees for BP.
That's awesome. I guess I said I had two more, but actually there's one I was going to ask you, especially in the seat you sit now, because as a player that came up and done so much and seeing how much the game's changed, and now sitting in that seat of being a guy that has that voice now to make changes and be involved with the behind the scenes. What do you think is needed for us to continue to grow the game, to make it bigger than what it is now, and to bring in more sponsors or more eyes?
I think it would help with, obviously travel's tougher right now because everything's so expensive, and so sponsors, you have to make sure when you have a sponsor, you have to treat that sponsor right. You can't expect things. You can't not respect the sponsors. You better respect the sponsors more than you respect anybody in this game, because they're the ones that are helping you play. Nobody wants to come out of pocket and spend all this money, and sometimes you do. I did when I was coming up. We worked. We would pay everybody to chip in, do this, do that. But when you get fortunate enough to have a sponsor, you better thank that person every day of the tournament that he's there. Thank him for showing up. Thank him for getting you there. Thank him for paying the fee. Respect the sponsors. Of anybody you can, respect the sponsors. Without these sponsors, we ain't doing as much as we are. So I think we need to get, if we can help get more sponsors, help with anything you can help with. Growing the game's hard, man. There's so many things to do now, right? Everybody, with technology and gaming and this and that, there's so many things to do now than there was 25 years ago when I started playing softball. I played for 31 years, but we'll go back 25 years. There's way more to do now than there was 25 years ago. So there's way more softball players 25 years ago. It's just about, we need people to commit and try to play at the highest level you can play. It's crazy that in my job I see the part now where everybody wants to play as low as they can play.
Yeah.
When I was coming up, everybody was striving. Once I found out there was a higher level, I did not give a shit about playing anything low. I wanted to get to that high level. How I was going to get there, I didn't know. I got lucky getting hurt, this and that, whatever, but I was still striving to go high. And I think these days people aren't always doing that. There are some that do strive to go as high as they can go, but the majority striving to play as low as they can go to be as successful as they can be. Everybody wants success, but listen, the higher you go and the more success you have, the more satisfying it is to me. You know what I mean? So if I can be successful in E, that's great. Accept that and take pride in that. But if you can be successful in D, in C, and B, and A, strive for that. The higher you got, the more respect you get for having that success also with your peers. So if two guys are standing there, one guy is a major champion and one guy is a D champion, they're both champions. They both deserved it, they both earned it, and they both should be very proud of it. But if you take a consensus, this guy who's got the major championship is going to get a little more respect than you are because they did it at the highest level. Yeah. So everybody, whether you can get there or not, you should strive to be the best you can be, strive to play the highest you can play. And if you can't be successful, you gave it a shot, right? Nobody wants to lose. I don't want to go up, and just get my ass beat every game, but I tried. So if my level, that's the only way to find your true level too. How do you know how high you can play if you don't try to get that high? You can have all the success you want at this level. You could probably have success here, but if you don't try to get here, you'll never know if you have success here. If you get here and you don't have success, you know you've reached your limit. Everybody has a limit. Everybody's good at something. See how good you can be.
Yeah, that's something that gets brought up a lot is the player rating, and people always, like the people that talk about they could play conference or they could play at that level, they could do that, or the guys that are appealing their ranking,
right,
trying to play down. And TJ actually asked that question. He's like, your perspective, like on the E+ rank, because mind blowing. And I kind of had it too. I'm like, you're like your B+ or or you're A elite, and I'm like, or you're B elite, and you're like, why don't you just you're that or you're the next level? Like, what is that
Yeah, and
point
if
of
it's
having a
not
pluser?
possible, look, it's not for everybody. Some people can't travel more than, an hour from their house, whatever the situation may be. All I'm saying is everybody should try to be the highest
Oh,
they
yeah.
can be and not just try to be successful here when if you can get here, get here. If you can't, you can't. It's okay. But at least have a goal to get there.
I've played on a lot of the teams that are like, hey, we're gonna get in at this level because we can sandbag, and I go,
Right.
dude, how many times that statistically worked out for you? Like, how many
Right.
championships you got by doing that? Like, you also got to look at numbers. Like, yeah, you might be sandbagging, but there's also 200 some teams at that level.
Yeah.
Where if you went and played C, there's like maybe 60
60 or 70.
70.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's not for everybody, and I'm not talking down on anybody who plays lower because I love
No,
everybody who plays the game
I
because
think it's
I love
stepping
the game.
stones,
I
right,
want
for a
everybody to
reason.
play. I just want people to push themselves. That's all I want.
That's
You know what I mean?
that's what I was set up for to begin with. Like it's a stepping stone. Like you're supposed to like start out at a level, and if that's all you ever are,
Yeah.
and just you just aren't, then that's fine. That's
Yeah,
how
you
you
are. Everybody has different
great.
talents, but
Yeah,
I
you
just
just love the game and you love playing, and
that's how
that's your
you grow the
talent. Great.
game too. If everybody's trying to get higher, you got these new people coming in, starting where they at the lowest level, and they're not playing against people who should be here that are here, right? So the game can grow if people would move up and try to play the highest level that they can play, find out what their limit is, and then stop there. But if you don't if everybody stays here, no new people want to come up because they're getting their dicks beat in against these guys who can play here.
Yeah, I totally agree with it. And I get people hitting me up. I'm like, buddy, congratulations on that tournament. You've been D for 15 years. Like,
Right.
what are you doing?
But if that's your level, congrats. That's great.
Yeah,
But if you're
the
good
guy
enough to
was
play
good enough,
higher,
and the guy was
please do
legitimately
it.
good enough to play. And I get it. Like, it's just the area he's in. The Panhandle is tough, and I go, I get the area you're in. It sucks. It doesn't play me, but
Right.
so you kind of force to sandbag. I totally get that. And with your family, you couldn't
Right.
just go and I get it. But it sucks. And I tried to like big league, like that. It's just like you're bragging to me about it. And I go, buddy, I played that tournament with you back when we were first starting.
Yeah, there's always, like I said, there's always outside circumstances that none of us know about what everybody's going through or has to deal with, right?
Yeah.
So I have nothing against anybody playing anything. All I ask is if the game to grow, people have to move up so the new players can come in at that bottom level. That's it.
No, and I learned that too because I used to always like there's rings now. Like you had a ring, it meant something. Like it held a lot of weight. Now there's a lot of tournaments that give out rings.
Right.
And it's actually somebody else kind of reminded that. Like let them have their moment. Like if that's a team, especially if it's like I got local buddies that play and they support everything I'm doing, and it's awesome to see that. But then they want to tell me about what they're doing.
Right.
And I used to go, yeah, but you're talking about you playing a 275-foot field and you're using these balls. Like it's not comparable.
Right.
And I stopped doing that, and somebody kind of opened my eyes to that. Like, hey, let them have their moment.
No doubt.
Like,
no
and
doubt.
they wanted to tell me about it for a reason. And they're coming to me wanting to tell me about it because obviously I've made some kind of impact on them, and so that means a lot too. And I go, hey man, that's. Guy was telling me, he's like, yeah, but it was a grand slam. It was a walk up, but it wasn't like what you do. And I go, hey buddy, a grand slam in that key situation is big anywhere.
Exactly.
Like, that was huge.
You're playing against the same people.
Yeah.
Of level that you're in, so there's nothing wrong with that. Be happy for what your success is. You know
exactly.
What I mean? I have no problem with that.
It's learning, like being as old as I am. It was a few years ago that I learned to kind of swallow that. So it's like that's part of the game too. Like that I'll say is giving me without realizing it's changing and growing that part as well, and realizing things from a different perspective. And also doing that show, I get guys like you and so many that had such a rich history and stuff that I learned so much from that it changes my perspective on things sometimes.
Right.
Kind of wrapping it up. I know we had make sure I didn't miss any other questions. I kind of one thing bad about doing this on the like when I check the message on the phone, if I scroll up too far, it goes to my last live, and then to get the chat back is kind of a nightmare.
Yeah.
But once I had, with everything that you've done in the game as a player, tons of championships, awards, accolades. Now that you're behind the scenes, retired from playing, but you're still in an impactful situation within the game, what are some of your goals now in the role you're in before you retire and kind of walk away from the game completely?
Well, you kind of hit it earlier. I want to make the game better than when I left it, right? So being my role now, I've been a player for so long. I know what the players want. I know what the company wants, right? So my goal is to make it the best for both worlds. Do what I'm supposed to do work-wise, but also knowing what the players want in certain situations, trying to put that into play so we got everybody happy, right? it's hard. You can never make everybody happy. That's just an impossible thing to do. No matter how good you are, you're not going to make everybody happy. Somebody's going to have a problem with it. Something's going to have something to say about it. But you can only do what you can do. So my goal is to do the best I can do to make this game as good or better than it is now, and to make sure the players are dealing with whatever are getting what they expect out of every tournament, right? Now, that may not happen every tournament, but I know what I want to do every tournament. I want to make it smooth. I want to make it player friendly, and do the best I can do to make that happen with everything, whether it's dealing with, people. Like I deal with a lot of umpires. Like the umpires hated me when I played, and I don't have a problem with that because I was hard on umpires. But on this side, I deal with umpires. I'm very good friends with all these umpires now that hated me because they see who I am and we work together. And I want to make it easier for the umpires too. I know what I did. I know how I made it tough for them. So I would give them advice of things that would make me not say or do the things that I had done because this is what I'm expecting, right? So me and the umpires have a great relationship because we understand each other and we're both trying to make this game better. And without them, we wouldn't have this game. So, so I'm working hard with the umpires now that I'm not playing, of letting them know what players feel, what they expect in certain situations. And if this happened, what a player would want from the umpire to do or say to ease the situation. I have good insight on that because I've been in every situation, right? So I have a very good I love the umpires. I have a very good relationship with them now, and I give them advice on what players expect in certain situations that they may not have known, that helps them not have confrontations.
It's huge, especially in the role because, like I said, you've been there, you've done it, you've had it from the other side of it, and now they kind of know what kind of got you going or what you expected or what kind of put you there. And I know from umpiring, like it from running tournaments and umpiring, it's not an easy job. And
it's tough, man.
When I'm
the
pitching,
highest level is even tougher. That's why only certain people can do it. We don't make it easy on these guys. We're pitching we make everything borderline, right? Borderline flat, borderline height, corner, this and that. All the punt, whatever you do, the game is hard to umpire at the highest level. Very hard. Hitters and the players expect so much that it makes it even tougher on the umpires. So they have at our level, they have a tough ass job, dude. And I made it real tough on them, and I apologize to them for that, but they understand too. But now I work with them to let them know, hey, this is what I would think. This is what I would want. And you're your own person. You do what you do, but I think this would help in certain situations. And we have a great relationship. I think they're doing a hell of a job now.
Yeah, I think a lot of times if I pit, like just charity tournaments and stuff, I'll hop in an umpire and I tell the batters right away, like, hey, I'm a pitcher, but I'm also a guy that likes to hit. So I'm going to call and try to do the best I can. So if it's a hitter's game, but I'm also trying to watch him to see what he's doing, what he's throwing, because he's trying to make it as difficult as possible. And I can't just handcuff him and let him serve it up to you either. Right. And it's not easy because you miss little things. You're watching a pitch. You may not see that the pitcher change from one side of the mound to the other and lean a certain way and try to catch that corner. And you might have missed it. And there's just stuff that you got to look for. And to say that you can't get to where my call is my call and get just so – I've seen some umpires just ready to eject a guy right away because he asked a question. Like, no, not necessarily go that far, but you also can't let a guy berard you and take a lot of bullshit either. You got to draw your line.
Yeah. So they got to draw a line, and they do now. But you got to have a thick skin.
Well, I know they don't mess around with that 30-minute time rule. You better fucking be there 30 minutes early.
That's right. The conference, you better have 10 guys ready to play 30 minutes before your game time if that's the case. So, or it's bye-bye.
Everybody's like, well, the gate is what stopped us. I said, well, if we would have been here 40 minutes early, the gate wouldn't have stopped us, right? I was like, you had to be at the field 30 minutes early. So
yeah, you should be at the field 45 minutes early and ready to play 30 minutes early, whether it's there or not.
Right, exactly. So as I said, I appreciate you doing everything you did though to get us in the other tournament. And man, they talk about what you're doing for the game, the fact that you stepped up like that for us and helped us out meant a lot. You couldn't do anything; hands were tied on the conference side, but you're able to help us out to get in another tournament. That meant a lot.
I'm glad I could help.
So there was one question I did miss, and as I wanted your viewpoints on it, as a guy that's pitched at the highest level for how many years? Floating rubber or towing the rubber? What do you prefer?
I will never in my life agree with a floating rubber. Either pitch
Really?
on the rubber or don't. My opinion is pitch on the rubber or don't pitch. That's just everybody has their own personal preference, but
Okay.
either pitch on the rubber or don't pitch.
I could say I like floating just because I can do a lot more. I can move around and do a lot of shit. But I see the benefits of make it even tougher. Like we just talked about the umpire. Was he back 6 or was he back whatever? Was he?
Yeah, there's too many factors that come in. You got to throw the ball harder. Listen, I'm not an engineer, but common sense says if I'm at 50 feet, I got to throw it this speed. If I'm at 56 feet, you have to throw it harder. So you're throwing harder, more speed in, more speed out, blah, blah, blah. It's tough on the umpires. Listen, when I started pitching, it was 47 feet, I think. So I'm old school, though. I'm old school, but I will never in my life, my opinion only, now people can hate it or whatever, but I will never in my life agree with a floating rubber, ever.
Are you limited arc old school?
No, I'm not. I'm not in a limited arc. I'm not that.
I want to see how much that ball dances when it's 25 feet in the air.
Actually, it dances more the flatter you throw it. That's why I was more on the flat side.
Yeah.
The flatter you throw it, the more it cuts through. So that I like it flatter anyway. But as far as that, yeah, I'm a toe the rubber forever or don't pitch. That's my opinion.
Okay. I get a lot of mixed reviews on it, so I kind of ask because I like both. I don't have a problem with either one. I always enjoyed being able to float around and move around and do some things because I got away with a lot of shit.
Right.
But that's exactly it. I got away with a lot of stuff. So, But yeah, no, like, awesome. That was a personal question. I had it written down and I missed it. So, But the most important one was the last two that we talked about. And like I said, I appreciate you coming on and doing this. Yep. And like I said, always giving back, getting to know you over the last couple of years, especially. I took the time to talk to you off and on as a player, but now, especially in the role you're in, being able to come up and talk to you and pick your brain. And like I said, we talked a lot trying to plan this out. And, to finally have you on means a lot. I truly appreciate it as a guy that's a pitcher that come up with the game, watching you and your inspiration to me. But also for the other players that are coming up that are learning the game, that are trying to become better. They got the players that watched you and that enjoyed every minute of it, and then guys you played against, and just keeping it alive and talking about it, because I think that's the other big part of the game is got to promote it, keep growing.
Yeah, no doubt.
So,
and, like I said, I'm glad I can come on. I'm glad I can help, and I'm always around. And anytime anybody sees me, I'm more than happy to answer a question. So, yeah, I'm glad I can help you out, man. And I hope this was a success. I hope you got some good views, and I'm sure we can do it again at some point.
Yeah, it'd be fun to do a round table. Speaking of Corny and BJ and those guys, maybe get a round table with some of the guys in this talk shop and let you guys kind of roll. I like those because I just sit back and kind of listen to your guys' stories, bring up a comment.
Yeah, it'd be. I don't know how much we get done between all the shit talking. So it would definitely be a fun. It would definitely be a fun round table if you got those guys around. I'm sure people would enjoy it because it would be nonstop.
Call the round table the header would be shots fired.
Exactly. Nobody's safe. Nobody's safe.
All right, I really appreciate it, sir. Like I said, I'll be in touch because I most definitely would love to have you back on.
All right, no problem, buddy. Glad I can help out. Take care, man.
Thank you.
All right, see ya.
Well, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like I said, I was going to cut a little shorter, but it's Andy Purcell, and I wanted to get some questions asked, get some things in there. I know as we start explaining or bringing things up, we're trying to relay a little bit. Sometimes I can blah, 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 rattle on and trying to cut that. I still can't find, since we've been in this house for over a year, can't find my timer. But it's one of the things I'm working on. So, but I love to get, just for myself, I had a lot of questions I got to answer tonight, and I've been able to ask Andy off to the side certain things and talk to him about certain topics, but I saved a lot of it for this, and a lot of good questions that came in. Like I said, I'll do the best question giveaway. I'll look through it here, and because I got to get them to load, like I said, I scrolled past and made them disappear. Now they're loading back up, so I'll have to go through it afterwards. And if I can't pick one out, what I'll do is I'll pick out like the top 3, and we'll just do a random draw. And I'll post it on the Big Daddy Hex Live page for you guys. and then I'll make sure I get something out to you. I'll hit you up and get your address and send you something nice, maybe a little headshot with an autograph. No, I'm just playing, but we'll get you something from courtesy of Big Daddy Hacks. Don't tell Little Mama Hacks. Is she on? Is she live right now? Is she watching this? Just don't tell her, okay? Because I don't want to be in trouble. It's just between us. It's our secret. Anyway, thank you guys for once again joining. If you're watching this afterwards, thank you for watching it. And appreciate you guys. Like I said, growing it, making Big Daddy Hacks bigger. Big shout out to Anarchy and all the support. I love being a part of the brand. Like I said, Andy with Louisville. We talk about sponsors, but you can't get back to the people that support you enough. You know what I mean? And I can't thank Anarchy enough for allowing me to do what I do and taking the part and giving me the support they do and sponsoring a lot of lives. So Kevin and everybody else, Chad and Jason, everyone else with Anarchy, I really appreciate you guys. But I'm trying to figure out what next week. We have a couple different people that could possibly come on. I'm just trying to get confirmation. I will post it and get the ad out as soon as I get that locked down. But once again, thank you all for tuning in to Big Daddy Hacks Live and giving the support and love to Andy Purcell. What a great live. I had a great time with it. And I look forward to the next one. Hopefully have him on for a round table. To get him and BJ Corney on here would be pretty fun. We'd most definitely have to have some adult beverages and not just soda. So with that, Big Daddy Hacks out. Appreciate y'all. Much love. Thank you.